Day 1. Finally, the day arrived. The day we left our homes for some time off. We really enjoyed our train ride to the airport. It was a ride for about 3 hours, but it felt like only one. We had some really good conversations with each other and other passengers. The weather was really nice. It was a sunny day with a bright smiling sun. You could see the colorful fields of flowers with a nice purple bluish hue, and you could hear the newborn lambs bleat for their mom. Mom! Mom! Clearly, spring was in the air. At the airport, we flawlessly passed security. We still had to wait for about 2 hours, but that was not a problem at all because we had each other's company. Yet again, a 2-hour wait felt only like about 30 minutes. Before we knew it, we were flying way up high between the clouds so fluffy. At one point we could see the Alps reaching above the fluffy clouds. It was just beautiful. We landed safely on the international airport of Catania. It was already dark, so we could only smell the beauty of the land in which we just arrived. The sound of Italian voices and the warmth and the humidity on our skins were two signs we are really far from home. We took a bus to Catania Centrale, where we, from that point, could catch our train to our final destination, Riposto. When we were in the apartment, we were so excited that we knew it was hard to fall asleep. After a good meal, a tasty plate full of pasta, we decided to give sleep a chance. Tomorrow, we are going to see Catania in daylight again, a moment we were waiting for quite a while now. From this point, the possibilities were endless.
Day 2. Upon waking, we felt like $1,000,000, refreshed, regenerated. We had slept like babies. We enjoyed breakfast, some peach juice, a delicious bread with some nice Gabardino cheese, and Sicily's finest salame. Then, after taking a shower, as refreshing as a shower could be, we decided to go out on the balcony to see the first glimpses of this beautiful place where we'd be staying the next few days. There are no words to describe the moment we opened the doors to the balcony. The view was absolutely breathtaking. No words produced by men could do justice to a view like this. Solely glossodelic singing of women and children would. We stood there for a while, gazing and glaring, taking in the sights and sounds, whilst enjoying the presence of a comforting feeling of serenity. In retrospect, this was the calm before the storm. We felt so very inspired to go out there and seize the day, feast our eyes on the environment, and experience the many beautiful new things this place had to offer. We did not hesitate to take the first possible train to the city called Catania. The train ride was tremendously enjoyable, and we experienced quite the bliss during. We passed through vineyards and lemon groves. We crossed little rivers and ravines. Once we were in Catania, we really enjoyed ourselves. We took a stroll around the city center and had a terrific lunch. Despite the sporadic rain, it was a beautiful day. This day, already being so beautiful, pleasant, and quite perfect, made us wonder how splendid the rest of them would be.
Day 3. Today we'll be going to Syracuse, a 2,700-year-old ancient city, and also the birthplace of Archimedes. There we will visit Dionysius' ear. Dionysius' ear is a limestone cave, carved out of the Terminite Hill, on the edge of the current city. It is 23 meters high and extends 65 meters back into the cliff. Horizontally, it bends in an approximate S shape. Vertically, it is tapered at the top like a teardrop. Because of its shape, the ear has extremely good acoustics, making even a small sound resonate throughout the cave. We are hysterically thrilled, even besides ourselves, eager to go in there and walk that cave and experience the effect of the acoustics, though we heard a story that startled us a bit.
According to legend, Dionysius had the cave carved in its shape, so that it would amplify the screams of prisoners being tortured in it. Among the slaves that had carved this cave, there was one imprisoned due to a small dispute. When this slave underwent torturing in the cave, the very same cave he helped into existence. He screamed and screamed and screamed. With every crack of the whip, screams of the slave were ricocheting through the cave and back to the slave. He lost his mind more and more. The sounds drove him mad. Right before the light left the main body of the slave, he used its last strength to put a curse on the cave. Legend claims that if you would scream loudly in the cave for a while, you'd lose your mind, just like the slave did. Therefore, it is recommended to only whisper in the kindest of voices. When we heard the story, we were anxious at first, but later we decided that it was just a story to feed to the tourists, a way to make the cave more sensational for them. Now, we're eager to try it out and see for ourselves. Scream it, later. What could go wrong? On the way to Syracuse, we discussed the story once more. We were so excited to make some noise, defy the so-called curse, but were hesitant as well. What if there really was a curse? We asked ourselves, should we be ushered into glory to experience the bliss of defying the curse, having never known the pain the slave did? Day 3. I woke up quite early this morning. Because of the day trip we had planned, I was too excited to sleep. I decided to get out of bed and slowly start to prepare myself. I had a nice breakfast, some carrot juice, toasted bread with some nice provola cheese, and Sicily's finest mortadella. I sat outside on the balcony and ate this treat of a meal. As the warm, comforting Mediterranean sun was rising, I enjoyed the songs the birds were singing. There were some doves doing the dance of love. I saw the tiny boats of the fishermen returning to shore to bring their freshly caught fish to the market. There were kids going to school and old women sweeping their balconies. Such life in the early morning. After finishing my breakfast, I stayed out on the balcony for a while to enjoy the birds' songs some more. Through the cacophony of songs, I heard one that was quite different from the others. In front of the apartment building was a tall tree, in which I saw a small bird. It was a European goldfinch. It was average sized, about 12 centimeters long, with a wingspan of approximately 23 centimeters. It had a red face, black and white head, warm brown upperparts, white underparts with buff flanks and breast patches, and black and yellow wings. What a sight it was! Though this colorful bird looks cheerful, its song wasn't all that merry. It was quite the contrary. It was dark and intense, and it seemed like the finch was singing it directly at me, like it was trying to tell me something, a warning of some sort. Listen to me, so full of fantasy. The doves were still performing their dance of love, and it made me chuckle. What a lovely day today. The sky so blue, the clouds so fluffy, the sea so serene. I felt so content and calm. In retrospect, this was the calm before the storm. I heard Edward had awakened and I had to continue getting ready to go, for today is going to be fun.
Day 3. From the moment I woke up, I noticed I felt different. Was it because I was excited to go to the ancient city of Syracuse, or was I becoming ill? I did not know it at that point, place, and time, but hours later it all became clear. On my way to Syracuse, the feeling became stronger. There was something inside of me that was screaming to go out. What was this feeling? Was I becoming ill on the day I was finally going to see the ancient city of Syracuse? A moment I've been waiting for the past few years now? Or was it something I could not wrap my head around? When I took my first step into the ancient city of Syracuse, I've experienced for the first time in my 25-year-old life a déjà vu. I knew all roads, places, monuments, and buildings that were built before the Gregorian calendar even existed. All the other buildings that were built after the Gregorian calendar, I did not recognize. I even know roads that no longer existed. The new roads confused me. What does this mean? Then I suddenly heard whispering voices from the distance. There were people in Dionysius' ear. I directly led Lothar to Dionysius' ear. I walked down that road like I walked it 1,000,000 times before. I've really walked there before, a long, long time ago. I know it. But how did I know that these voices came from Dionysius' ear? This was my first time in Syracuse, or was it? But how could it be so familiar?
Day 3. It took a long time before we found Dionysius' ear. We had a map, but could not figure it out. Luckily, we stumbled upon the cave by accident. When we finally went into the cave, I chickened out. Suddenly I remembered hearing Jeremy Clarkson visited Syracuse not long ago and passed by the cave. It caused quite a commotion because he is said to be heard screaming in the cave. I guess he wanted to defy the curse too. Now he lost his job and apparently attacked the producer of the show. Was this a coincidence? I didn't want to find out. I was too scared.
Day 3. When I arrived at Dionysius' ear, my hands became moist and warm. I felt shivers down my spine. I was starting to make weird noises. I was screaming. My mind was thinking so fast I could not keep up with it. What is going on? What is happening? Was the legend true? My brains were on fire. I thought of so many questions, and at the same time, I have thought of so many solutions to these questions.
Day 3. I wanted to tell Edward what I just remembered, but it was too late. I cried because I knew all was over now. There is no way back. Despite my tears, Edward kept going, as if he was possessed or something. How could he be smiling when he does such a horrible thing?
Day 3. I left the cave for an attempt to cool down. It started to rain, so that was a pleasant coincidence. In my head, I came up with all kinds of solutions for problems I have never thought about before. I saw mathematical formulas that would solve so many problems in this world. I sat down on a bench underneath a beautiful rock shelter of the ancient city of Syracuse, and then it struck me. I said it once, and I will say it again. Eureka! I am Archimedes.
Day 3. Back home, Edward started to show strange behavior. Symptoms he had been cursed, if you ask me. He kept going on and on about how funny and weird it was that he saw his own grave while still being alive. How he was such a brilliant engineer and inventor. And he kept addressing himself in the third person, calling himself Archimedes. Is he cursed? Is he losing his mind? Yeah, I'm sure now. He just had to do it. He just had to scream, thinking no curse could knock him down. Well, look at you now.
Day 3. That night I decided to take a nice warm bath, just like I did more than 2,000 years ago. I was thinking about my moment when I came up with what they now call the Archimedes principle. I remembered that I wrote down, any object wholly or partly immersed in a fluid is buoyed up by the force equal to the weight of the fluid displaced by the object. I never realized at that time that they would give me such an honor by using my name for that principle.
Day 3. Edward said he was tired, so I drew him a warm, soothing bath. I offered him wine and poured myself a glass too, to calm my nerves. I felt confused and tired after today. While Edward submerged his entire body in the hot steamy bath, I had already begun drinking my second glass. For a while, I watched him, as the ripples in the water played with his beard. Looking at the beard, then the mouth, nose and hair, it all seemed like Edward to me. But when looking straight into his eyes, those foul blue eyes, not blue like the sky in spring or the sea in the tropics, but blue like the cheeks of a strangled whore, that pale blue, like the skin of a corpse that has been lying around for a few days, decomposing like grapes in the sun. Looking straight into those blue eyes, it were eyes of a monster, a man gone mad. Suddenly I felt anxious. The idea that I was sharing this house with a person that appeared to be in a severe mental crisis played games on my mind, and the intense fear of being killed in my sleep by this madman grew. No, just thoughts. Crazy thoughts. I'm just tired. But then again, he is watching me with those pale blue. I just want to poke them out with a hot needle. If he's going to kill me, I have to beat him to it. Then it dawned upon me. Edward had been drinking, and drunk people tend to fall asleep. And people who fall asleep in the bathtub tend to drown. Yes, this was it. I started pouring him another glass. He'd be getting drunk soon. Of course I had to drink with him. I did not want to raise any suspicion. Eventually Edward did fall asleep, but although his body emerged completely, his head did not. The bathtub was too small. Maybe this was a good thing. If it did work, where would I leave the body? I couldn't just call the police. What would I tell them? What would I tell his family? They'd probably ask me where I was, why I did not save him. Yes, it's a good thing he did not drown. Tomorrow is another day. We should go hiking in the mountains. Maybe he'll have a terrible hiking accident.
Day 4. When I woke up, I never felt so alive. I had the energy of two. Lothar was already awake, and he asked me if I would like to go out and take a hike in the mountains today. I thought it was a jolly nice idea. If I would walk, I could get my brains working again, just like I did more than 2,000 years ago. So that morning, I left with a glimpsing smile, ready to explore the present, knowing the past, and headed for the future.
Day 4. I did not sleep at all last night. I was too scared to be killed. I told Edward I wanted to go hiking in the mountains to enjoy the view, and he liked the idea. On our way to the mountains, I felt uneasy. Why did he like the idea so much? Was he planning on killing me? Leave my body on the mountain, never to be found again? Or was he going to throw me off of a cliff into a ravine? I could not let him get away with it. I had to come up with a plan so that, if my body would be found, people would know what really happened to me, that he killed me. But how? Then I had it.
Day 4. On the way to the mountains, Lothar suddenly stopped. He told me that I inspired him, and that he therefore decided to put a tattoo on his chest. I was honored and speechless for this beautiful gesture. But on the other hand, it does not surprise me. I would be blown away as well by such a magical happening. He said to me that he wanted to tattoo the words, "If you can dream it, you can do it," on his chest in Italian. In Italian, it is, "Se posso sognarlo, posso farlo." I hope he spells it correct because, on Italian spelling, I could not help him. I could only write and speak in Dutch, English, and ancient Greek.
Day 4. I had to tattoo it on my body. I put the words, "The curly blonde one did it," on my chest, so the police, or whoever would find me, would know it was him. It has to be in Italian, of course. Then Edward would not know what it really says. I'll tell him that he inspired me. He was so brave. I will tell him that it says, "If you can dream it, you can do it." Of course, that's about defying the curse. After getting tattooed, I felt depleted. I wanted to stop for a bite to eat, regain my strength. I was going to need it. I knew just a place where I could get my testosterone levels up.
Day 4. With a fresh tattoo on Lothar's skin, we continued our journey to the mountains, where we could start our hike. I enjoyed the view. As we came closer to the mountains, Lothar said he was hungry and he wanted to eat nearby a restaurant in Casamola. It was a rather remarkable restaurant named Turisi. Story goes that in 1975 Peppino married his wife Rosa, and together they refurbished the bar as it stands today, particularly concentrating on enhancing the interior. They recognized that their era was particularly happy and prolific. Having 3 sons within 5 years, there was one particular symbol that could represent it all: the penis. Vulgarly referred to in Sicilian as la minchia. The idea of the penis had definitely a big impact on the population, especially on the priest. However, the following years the symbol was accepted by everyone and became an important part of the bar. In fact, it is present in different shapes, lengths, materials, in wood, ceramic, terracotta, worked iron, pasta, and marzipan. The minchia sets the tempo of the bar and the moods of all those within it. The penis is not a vulgar symbol and finds its roots in Greek culture, where the god Priapus represented fertility, freedom, fortune, life, and beauty. Greek culture has influenced the Sicilian people for centuries, something I know everything about. I guess they saw me running naked when I had one of my brightest moments.
Day 4. I don't know why, but suddenly I felt torn. Edward is my friend. Has been for a long time. How could I just kill him? It's not right. Maybe not even necessary. He seems quite normal. Wait, it's that look again. I've seen that look before. My dog Scruffy. When I was a young lad, I had a dog named Scruffy. I loved him so dearly, but one day he got bitten by a bat when he was frolicking around on a nice summer evening. He caught rabies. The next morning, I did not even recognize my dear Scruffy. I'll never forget the look in his eyes. The look of an animal that's suffering, but also going mad. It is the same look I see in those damn dirty-looking blue eyes of what I once called my friend. Now he just deteriorated to an animal. Like my dear Scruffy, I have to put him down.
Day 4. I ate some really good tasty pasta pistache. My compliments to the chef. I hope the pasta will give me enough energy for the hike. During the hike, I was thinking harder than I ever did before in my current life. What was happening between those 2,000 years? Was I in heaven or in hell? Or have I been waiting in purgatory? That can be. Then I should remember it, just like I remember that I was Archimedes. Or is Archimedes not my previous life, but one of my previous lives? But if I had previous lives, who would I have been? I immediately, at that point and place, thought of J.R.R. Tolkien. But that is a silly thought. I'm only thinking that because I am in the misty mountains now with a beautiful forest. We decided to rest. We have been walking for hours now, and I have been thinking for hours now. It was getting dark already. I wanted to think more, and I have so many things to think about. Where should I start? Then I saw Lothar writing, and I thought, what a good idea. I should write down some of my thoughts, so I can think about it later. I should write a book about this. If I can inspire Lothar, I can inspire much more people. I think we have to spend the rest of the night in the forest, because we're hours away from home. But that's okay with me. I hope there will be a bright moon tonight. Then I can take a look at the crater that has been named after me. I wonder how many things I remember as my period as an astronomer. Are my ideas I had more than 2,000 years ago still valid now? I should look it up when I'm back at the apartment tomorrow.
Day 4. Things did not go as planned. I hadn't killed him yet, and now it's getting dark. We are still on the mountain and seem to be lost. Somehow the path we took led us into a thick, dense forest. Or maybe it was Edward's plan all along. Now he could get rid of me without anybody noticing. I do not like this. I do not like this at all. The forest is dark, damp, and spooky. I wonder if there are wild animals. Besides Edward, of course. Even though we have each other's company, I've never felt more alone. I'm writing all of this down because I want people to know what happened on this godforsaken island. If you are reading this diary, it means that by now, one of us, or maybe even both, I know more. Tonight, decisions are going to be made.
And